It all began on a Monday morning, the kind of day that starts off with thick clouds hiding the sun and a strange tension in the air. The first bell of Belridge High rang sharply through the halls, signaling not just the beginning of the school day but the beginning of something no one would see coming. As students filed into their classrooms, murmuring about homework and gossip from the weekend, a single figure stood out. She walked quietly, backpack slung over one shoulder, her eyes lowered, yet her steps were steady. Her name was Isla. The new girl. No one knew where she came from, only that she had transferred mid-semester, which already made her a target. The kind of mystery that sparked curiosity and cruelty. Isla took her seat in the back of the classroom, away from the chatter and noise. She was used to silence, it was safer there. The teachers welcomed her politely, but most students barely gave her a glance. Most, but not all. The front row belonged to the notorious trio. Derek, Jay, and Mason. Known for their athletic build, loud mouths, and a sense of entitlement that made teachers tread carefully. Derek, the self-proclaimed leader, was the worst of them all. He noticed Isla immediately, and the look in his eyes wasn't kind. It was a smirk dipped in arrogance, the kind that usually preceded torment. Lunch period was Isla's least favorite part of the day. She sat alone near the courtyard, beneath the old oak tree. She didn't mind being alone. It was peaceful. Until the peace shattered like glass. Derek and his crew sauntered over, towering above her as she quietly opened her lunchbox. "Hey, new girl. You mute or just rude?" Derek mocked. Isla said nothing. Her eyes lifted for only a second, then returned to her food. That silence was enough to trigger him. Mason snorted. Jay laughed. "I think she's broken," Jay added, poking at her backpack. Derek leaned in and pulled out a book from her bag. "Martial arts," he read mockingly. "You gonna kung fu us, huh?" Isla stood slowly, reaching for the book. "Please give it back," she said quietly. Her voice was soft. Too soft for someone standing before three wolves. Derek held the book high and yanked at her ponytail. "Or what?" he growled, yanking again, harder this time. Isla winced but didn't scream. That was her breaking point. Something in her posture shifted. Her feet shifted slightly. She took a step forward. That moment ended with a teacher's shout, but not before Derek hit the ground, screaming, clutching his forearm twisted at an unnatural angle. Jay froze mid-laugh. Mason backed away. The courtyard was dead silent. Students stood frozen, their lunch forgotten. Isla stood calmly, her face still, but her stance ready. A teacher ran over, followed by another. The chaos broke out instantly. "Call the nurse," someone yelled. Derek's screams echoed as he rocked back and forth, tears mixing with disbelief on his face. The teacher stared at Isla in shock, but she didn't run. She calmly picked up her book and said only 4 words, "He pulled my hair." What happened next unfolded like a wildfire. Isla was escorted to the office. Derek was taken to the nurse, then the hospital. Whispers spread through the school faster than anyone could contain them. "Did you see her move? She broke his arm with one twist. She's a ninja or something." The quiet girl had become a storm. Principal Harrows looked up from the report with concern. "Isla, do you want to explain what happened?" She sat quietly, hands in her lap. "He pulled my hair. I asked him to stop. He didn't. I reacted. Reacted. Self-defense." "Do you know how serious this is?" he asked. "Yes," she answered softly. "But no one stopped him when he grabbed me. They only noticed when he got hurt." That statement hit hard. The principal paused. The guidance counselor, Ms. Lin, observed quietly, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. That night, Isla sat in her room, staring at the photo on her desk. A younger version of herself with a woman beside her, her mother. A decorated martial artist. A fighter. A survivor. Isla had trained since she was 5. Not to hurt others, but to protect herself. Because life had taught her one thing: when no one stands up for you, you must stand up for yourself. Her mother had died protecting others. Isla had promised to never use her skills for aggression, only defense. That day at school. She kept her promise. The following days were intense. Some students feared her. Others admired her. She was called names, but also praised by many who were secretly tired of the bullying culture. Girls who had cried in bathrooms. Boys who had hidden bruises. For them, Isla became more than the new girl. She became a symbol. But symbols come with a cost. The school board scheduled a disciplinary meeting. Derek's parents were outraged. "She's a danger to other students," his father yelled. "She's a violent thug." Isla sat beside Ms. Lin, expression calm. "He assaulted her first," Ms. Lin reminded the board. "She defended herself with restraint. He could have lost his shoulder. She only twisted the joint." "Only," Derek's mom shouted. But the CCTV footage confirmed Isla's version. She didn't attack. She reacted. Still, the board was divided. A suspension was issued, 3 days. Not for fighting, but for the disturbance caused. Fair? Not really. But it was better than expulsion. Isla returned to school after her suspension, quieter than ever. But everything had changed. She wasn't invisible anymore. Meanwhile, Derek's pride was shattered. His caste became a symbol of humiliation. His friends drifted away, scared they'd be next. But Derek didn't give up. He started plotting. And he wasn't the only one. Isla's calm demeanor had lit a fire in some and anger in others. The bullies had been embarrassed, and people like that rarely stay quiet. As Isla walked through the halls, eyes following her every move, she knew it wasn't over. Not yet. Something bigger was coming. But what they didn't know was that Isla wasn't afraid. She didn't want to fight, but she was always ready for one. 3 days of suspension didn't feel like punishment to Isla. It felt like peace. She used that time to reflect, meditate, and refocus. Her mother had always taught her that silence was not weakness, it was the deepest kind of strength. Still waters don't beg for attention, her mother used to say. But they run deep, and they move mountains when stirred. Isla returned to Belridge High with her shoulders straight and her eyes forward. But beneath her calm exterior, she could feel it, the tension. The hallways no longer ignored her. Whispers followed her like shadows. People stepped aside when she passed. Some were afraid. Others were in awe. But Derek? Derek was humiliated and dangerous. The moment Isla entered the school gates again, Derek watched from a distance. His arm still in a cast, his pride broken, he wasn't ready to let it go. "She made me look weak," he muttered to Mason, who now followed like a reluctant puppy. Jay had backed off completely, he wanted no part in Isla's wrath again. But Derek wasn't done. He had a plan. And it wasn't just to embarrass her, it was to destroy her reputation for good. "If she wants to be the hero, let's turn her into the villain," he sneered. By lunchtime, the trap was set. Mason accidentally bumped into Isla, spilling orange juice on her notebook. "Oops, my bad," he muttered, not even pretending to be sincere. Isla glanced at the ruined pages but said nothing. She simply cleaned it off, threw the wet paper into the bin, and returned to her seat. "She's not even reacting," Mason grunted. "She thinks she's above us." But Derek wasn't discouraged. That was phase 1. Phase 2 involved manipulation and cameras. The next day, Derek enlisted a new ally, Sierra. A drama queen known for twisting stories and turning tears into trophies. Sierra faked a fall near Isla in the hallway. "She pushed me." Sierra cried out, loud enough for teachers to hear. Isla stood frozen, shocked. "I didn't touch her," she said quietly. But a student nearby filmed the moment, cutting the video just right to make it look like Isla brushed past Sierra and she fell dramatically. Within an hour, the video was posted on a school gossip page, "New girl attacks student, again." It spread like wildfire. Isla was called into the office again. This time, Principal Harrows seemed less sympathetic. "This is the second violent incident you've been involved in," he said sternly. "There's a pattern forming." Isla looked him in the eyes. "You saw the first video. This one is edited." "She's lying." Ms. Lin, sitting beside her, nodded. "We'll investigate," she said. But it was clear the school was under pressure. Parents were calling. The board was watching. Isla was standing on a fragile bridge. And then came the final blow. 2 days later, Isla was invited to a peace talk organized by Sierra, Mason, and a few other students. They claimed they wanted to clear the air. Isla, ever hopeful, agreed, under one condition: it would take place in the presence of teachers. They refused. That should have been the red flag. But Isla wanted to believe things could settle. That maybe, just maybe, they were being genuine. She walked into the music room after school. It was dark. A phone camera was already recording from the corner. Sierra sat with fake tears already glistening in her eyes. "We just wanted to say sorry," she sniffled. Mason stood near the door. Derek stepped out from the shadows, smirking. "Apologies first," he said mockingly. Isla stood still. "You don't mean it," she whispered. "This is another trap. You think you're better than everyone, huh?" Derek snapped. "You think just because you broke my arm, you're some kind of legend." He stepped closer, tension crackling in the air. Then he reached again, this time toward her braid. Bad move. What happened next was not a twist, it was a warning. Isla's body moved on instinct. One hand grabbed his wrist. One pivot of her heel, one sharp movement, and Derek's knees hit the floor. His other hand flew up as she twisted his arm behind him, firmly but carefully. "You touch me again," she said, voice low, "and I won't stop at a twist." The room was dead silent. Mason backed up. Sierra gasped. The camera was still rolling, unplanned this time. But then, the unexpected happened. Ms. Lin burst through the door, followed by the dean and 2 student officers. "We saw the live stream," she said coldly. "Yes, live stream. Not the one they planned, someone else leaked it. A student tired of the bullying. Tired of the lies. One of the quiet kids in the shadows." She had seen Isla walk into the trap, and turned on her own camera in secret. She streamed the entire thing live on her private channel. The truth had been caught. Derek was removed. This time, permanently. The board had seen enough. Sierra's lies were exposed. Mason was suspended. But Isla walked out of that music room taller than ever, not because she won, but because she didn't fall. That weekend, a student rally was held. End bullying. Start listening. Isla didn't speak at first. But as the crowd called her name, she stepped onto the platform. Her voice was calm, but it echoed louder than any microphone. "I never asked to be feared," she said. "I just wanted peace. I only fought when no one protected me. But I've learned something: when you stand up, others rise too. Bullies thrive on silence. But silence doesn't mean weakness. It means you've picked your moment." The crowd cheered. Teachers nodded. Even the principal, from the back, clapped quietly. Isla became more than a name. She became a movement. By the end of the school year, policies changed. A new student-led defense and safety council was formed, led by Isla and Ms. Lin. Isla never fought again. She never had to. Because now, others stood with her.